This is Hannibal from the HannibalTV.com with some wrestling news for you. Raw last night had the second lowest rating in the company's history, in the show's history, getting a 0.52 rating with 1.84 million average viewers. So we've seen them hit new lows all year this year. Unfortunately, I predict the continuation of television wrestling getting less and less popular for 2020. CBO says Raw sucks. Yes, thank you. The last of the Mohicans saying Devin is the man. I appreciate that. In other wrestling news, we all know that AEW at one point in time claimed they were going to be sports-based. Someone said, "Why were you so supportive of them this past summer, but now you seem down on them?" Well, because the product sucks, in my opinion, and I heard about this on the Wrestling Observer, so I watched it myself. The Young Bucks' response to the whole issue of the Dark Order guy missing the punches on Dustin Rhodes on that viral video that came out last week. The Young Bucks did a spoof on it where they released a video where they were punching Christopher Daniels and missing, and he was selling. So, like, there's no question AEW is just going to be comedy wrestling. It's not going to be sports-based. It's goofy crap, absolute crap. I'm not a fan of it at all. I'm actually glad they weren't interested in me in the end, because I don't want to be part of like goofy wrestling. I really, really don't. I'm happy being a reporter, and I think I'm going to move on to other things and other styles of interview as time goes on. Speaking of things that are better than wrestling, UFC, there's a bit of MMA news today. Frankie Edgar had a fight Saturday night where he was knocked out at only 318 by Chan Sung, and unfortunately, he had an orbital injury due to that fight, and he now has a 60-day medical suspension, 45 days, no contact. So sorry to hear that. MMA is definitely a tough sport. Jay Rodriguez says AEW is embarrassing. So I agree with you on that. Stephen Curtis tipped me $10, and I really appreciate that. He says, "Merry Christmas, Devin. Thanks for all the great content this year." Well, thank you. And speaking of the great content this year, the last thing I'm going to say is I'm going to make a highlight video of some of the best interview clips I did this year. So anyone with suggestions of some of the best interview moments that I had this year, write it in the comments. Anthony says Jericho has to have a meeting with Khan and smarten him up to wrestling. No, man, it's a lost cause. When you have Tony Khan 11 or 12 weeks into the show already delivering stunners to wrestlers in front of a crowd and videos that go viral, like, it's too late. That company is just basically the millionaire or the billionaire, whatever he is. I think he's worth like huge, like over $6 billion. The Tony Khan Sr. is. This is just like a toy for his son to play with. AEW is, and if it ends up making money for them, great. Or if they shut it down after a few years, that money is just a drop of the bucket to them. I actually wrote down this comment. This was funny. They said AEW is nerd-based, not sports-based. It's a nerd-based product made by nerds for nerds. So I have to agree with that. Have a good night, everybody.